Hi, guys. Thank you for joining me on this Facebook Live. My name is Ruth Duran. I am a certified life coach. I help business women make more money without working any harder or longer. I'm checking on Facebook to see if I am on. I am. So today I wanted to come live and share with you two ways that I see business people taking action in their business. And one way guarantees that you will create the results that you want, and another way actually stalls and slows my clients down. And so these are two ways that I see people taking action. I see one group of people who, I love the analogy that Covey shares in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and it's in the sharpening the saw. And so two people can be given the task of cutting down a tree. One person will get to the work of cutting down the tree, get to the work of actually axing away at the tree and cutting away at the tree and just get into work. Another person will pause, will identify how sharp is the saw, what do they need to do with the saw, how much work will require to cut down the tree and evaluate that. And what looks like person one looks busy. They're doing a lot of things. They're taking a lot of action. But person two might even take 55 minutes sharpening the saw, evaluating, planning, strategically, looking at what needs to happen, how they need to do it, maybe even hiring somebody to do it for them. And they will get the job done. Just because we do a lot of work doesn't mean that we will get the result that we want. Just because we take a lot of action and we are busy doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get the result that we want. And so I love to think of that analogy of Covey. And so a lot of people will come and say, well, I'm doing a lot of things. That means I'm doing it to get the result that I want. Or they'll say, well, I'm supposed to be doing a lot of things. I'm supposed to be taking quote unquote massive action. And so they'll go and say, well, I'll read another book. I'll take another training. I'll sign up for another course. I'll watch another YouTube video. I'll do this. That actually is called passive learning and passive action. Passive action is, at the end of the day, does not create the result that we want. Passive action at the end of the day doesn't move our needle forward. So I can spend the hour, I have an hour to cut down the tree. I can spend the hour learning how to cut down the tree, or I can spend the hour dividing it, 10 minutes learning how to cut down the tree, 5 minutes practicing, seeing how I can do it, then realizing that the reviewing and going, okay, the saw is not sharp enough, sharpening the saw, practicing again, and then get a lot more where I want to go. And so my clients will come to me, and my clients are the ones who are going to be doing all the work. They're going to be very busy. And so I had one of the analogies that I love to say is sometimes it requires us to do the uncomfortable thing that's going to move the needle forward. And so when I like to think about that, I like to think about low impact, things that are going to create the result that we want, versus high impact, which are going to create the result that we want without without us being so busy. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about, I can decide I want to build a house, and I can decide that I'm going to go start laying bricks and figuring it out as I fail along the way. Or I could decide to pause. I could decide to evaluate what needs to happen. What do I want? What do I want the house to look like? And then drawing down a blueprint, and then looking at it and realizing, okay, to do the blueprint, I need to learn how to cut wood. I need to learn how to dig a foundation, lay wood, lay bricks, blah, blah, blah. Or I can realize I don't want to learn how to do all that, but I want to have the house built. And so maybe hiring people who can do it. But it takes that pausing, and also realizing that what is the goal in mind that I have. And so high impact, sometimes it's not doing all the things, but it's doing the things that are going to move it forward. So for example, hiring a contractor who's skilled at getting permits and building the house and all that stuff will move the house building a lot more forward than I'm over here laying the brick myself and failing and trying all over, taking it apart and failing and trying all over and taking it apart, and then pausing and being able to say, one person is tired and exhausted and nowhere closer to their goal. The other person might be mentally tired because they have to manage a contractor, but they're moving the needle a lot more forward. And so I use this analogies because sometimes what needs to happen is we need to pause and we need to hire somebody who's been through it before to help us get to where we want to go more. And so another thing is that what we want to do is we want to look at the actions that we're taking, and are they going to get us what we want? Are they going to get us the result that we want? Are they going to get us to where we want to go? And if we don't know where we're going, like if somebody just gave me a saw and somebody gave me a saw stone and a tree and said, figure out something to do, I can be with all three for the longest time and not move forward, versus going, they say, here's a saw, here's a stone, here's a tree, cut down this tree in 1 hour. I know where I'm going. I know what my goal is. So just like with the blueprint of the house, I know what I want my end results to be. What do you want your end results to be? And then deciding, pausing, looking, deciding intentionally, what do you want to do? Deciding on purpose, what do you want to put together? Deciding on purpose, what does that look like? And then being able to say, which one's going to get me to where I want to go with the most impact, with the most growth. And so first, another place that my clients will also miss is that managing of their mind and what they're doing. They're doing all the actions, but sometimes we need to pause and we need to think impactful thoughts, feel impactful feelings, and take impactful actions that's going to get us more of the impact that we want, get us more of the result that we want. We can pause and we can think. Person one's thinking one thought, person two is thinking one thought, person one's feeling one feeling, person two is feeling one feeling, person three is taking three actions, person one is taking three actions, person two is taking three actions, but one's going to get a lot further because the impact of the thought, feeling, and action is moving them further. And so we want to really think about, what are we thinking? What are we feeling? What are we doing? What are they creating? And so if I'm back to the sharpening the saw analogy from Covey, if my goal is to create the tree cut down, just because I worked really, really hard and I cut that tree down doesn't mean that the person who paused, planned, evaluated, strategically decided what they needed to do, what they didn't need to do, strategically thought impactful thoughts, felt impactful feelings, took impactful actions, didn't work as hard. They worked hard because they were using their brain and they cut it down in 5 minutes. The goal is to cut down the tree. The goal is not to be exhausted. The goal is not to be burnt out. The goal is not to be take away from your family and your time and your personal care. The goal is to cut down the tree. The goal is not the person who's more exhausted at the end of the day is the one who gets the gold prize. The one who gets the gold prize is the one that cut down the tree. So it doesn't matter whether you did a ton of actions or whether you planned and used your brain at a very different level and got the result that you want. The goal was to cut down the tree. And so this is what I help my clients do. I help my clients create more results without working harder or longer. My clients will come to me and they're the ones who they have the goal of cutting down the tree. Here's the saw, and they go to work with a dull saw and they're exhausted and they're burnt out and they're taken away from their family. And my goal is to have them pause, evaluate what's going to get the impact that you want, what's going to get you a lot further, what's going to get you, can you cut down maybe 5 trees when Susie Q is cutting down 1? That will impact and move your family tree a lot further. So that's the difference between low impact and high impact actions. They include how you were thinking and how you are feeling. Sometimes my clients will come to me and they'll go, but Ruth, I am taking a lot of actions. And my question is, how are you feeling when you're taking those actions? How are you feeling after you take those actions? And if you're feeling exhausted, burnt out, and depleted, we can benefit from up leveling your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. Just because you worked harder, the goal is, did you create the result that you wanted? Did you create the result that you wanted that benefits you, your family, and the people around you? And so I love Covey because Covey always says, start with the end in mind. And so I love to help my clients start with the end in mind, the tree cut down. But at the same time, how do you want to feel when the tree is cut down? Just because you sawed that tree for a whole hour doesn't mean you feel any more accomplished than person 2 who sawed it in 5 minutes. The tree is cut down. But the chances of person 2 getting back up and cutting more trees is higher than the chances of person 1 doing it. And so that's what I help my clients do. My clients will think, but Ruth, if you tell me to be compassionate, be love, being kind, pause and evaluate, pause and change the way I'm thinking. What will motivate me to do what I want to do? What will motivate me to do the actions that I want to take? Because we want to, because it will benefit us in the long run, because it will impact us and our family for years to come. And so we want to really sometimes pausing, planning, thinking outside the box, thinking creatively, taking massive action, evaluating, reviewing, creating a blueprint, sharpening the saw. Sometimes that takes time and energy, but that time and energy will really conserve our own time and energy so that we can create so much more. If you're working so hard to create one, I like to say this with my coaching clients, you're working so hard to create one client. And what if you can create 10 clients without working that hard for just one client? Would that be worth it for you? So if you're ready to learn how to implement, go from taking low impact action in your business to taking high impact action in your business, I can help you. Schedule a consultation call with me and let's evaluate what are your current patterns that you're taking action in your business? What are your current thoughts, feelings, and actions that you're using in your business? Are they creating the results that you want? And if they are, how are you feeling after you create the results? Are you feeling depleted, exhausted, burnt out, that even having to get back up and do the next one you feel defeated and exhausted? Or are you energized after you do the first one and ready to do more? Can you do so many more that people go, my goodness, you cut down 5, 10, 15 trees in a shorter amount of time because you took the time in the beginning to do the harder work so that you can go a long way longer. And so most of us, we go, well, that's uncomfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable. You get to choose your discomfort. You get to choose whether you're going to burnt out, exhausted, depleted, devastated, disappointed, or you get to pick where you're thinking differently and your brain is working in a different way, but you are creating so much more of the result that you want. So if you're ready to create more results without working any harder or longer, I can help you. Schedule a consultation. The link will be below. And I look forward to helping you make more money without working any harder or longer by the way you approach your goals, your dream, your business, and your desires. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.